Looks like a motorbike. Oh, it's a scooter. Scooter. I've bought some nuts for the exhaust and we'll put on the tinware as well. So it turns out the exhaust thread here is not UNF, it's British Standard Fine. And so it happens I've got 4 BSF nuts. One is small because there's a very tight crevice here to get through, so I believe that these are actually probably exhaust nuts. But I do have some bolts here that are, and this is a British Standard Fine one, because it doesn't fit the UNF at all, but it fits these just fine. So we'll stick these guys on anyway. Now our exhaust is on. It's probably not going to leak. So what I've got here is I've got 4 bolts. They were oversized to begin with because that's all the shop had. So they were this long. Now they are this long. There's a bit of difference. So we'll put the cover on here. So this requires the 4 small British Standard Fine bolts. And then we can put on the spark plug cover, which I believe goes on afterwards. It goes on. There we go. So that's how that sits in. So the problem is, that I was finding, is that there's fins here. You can see the steel actually slots into one of those fins. So you've got to try and get it as high as possible. So I'm missing one of these tabs. For here, I just put a bolt through it with some washers, and that should be fine. I'll put bolts on the other ones. Well, actually, nothing else bolts to anything else at the moment. So actually, we're done. I think that looks quite good now. Slowly getting more things on, which is always positive. Got the shock here. I want to get that off. Now that's press fit into there, and it shouldn't be. This slips up into the top here. That's where that goes. So I need to take that off to actually get it up here. We'll clean up the edge here, because it's a bit rusty. Just like that. Another job's done. We're going to put on the hub now. So this is for the front. So I've got a few bits and bobs that I need for this. Bearings, brake lever and cam, spindle. Got more bearings in here. Bottom piece here that everything will go on. The first thing we want to do is put on the brake lever, and then we'll start putting this on. We'll start getting bearings and getting all that sort of stuff sorted. So this simply goes through the bottom there, and so the brake action can come off here and the cable comes up through here back to the controls. So basically should slot in like this. Doesn't feel like it wants to though. It should have this part on it, and I believe that oval bit sits in there like that, and it sits on top of it. We've got to heat this member up in water to try and expand this gap here so that this can fit in there. So we should be able to pop this through here, take this, the curve facing upwards and towards the brake lever, so that'll go there, and just bolt it on. So we've got 2 spindles to go through. We've got that one and the brake. Yeah, look at that. That looks good. This should just slide through. That's through. Flip that over. We'll simply put this bit on. So now that that's through, we'll put this on. Facing here and upwards. Washer, nut. We'll see if the main spindle will go in. We'll take that out of the water, which is now cooling down. So now we've got this washer on the end to go into these tabs, and we've got a big nut to go on the end. So you can kind of see in there we've got a slot to put this into, so that needs to be lined up with that slot. Stops this spinning. So that's what I was banging it with the little hammer before. To mention that this tab here needs to be turned onto the nut to lock it there. So we'll turn to the other side and continue. So I was going to put the brake shoes in there. For reference, they've got a shallow side and a deep side. They go shallow side down. So they would just sit in here like this. And obviously the cam will open them and close them. However, I'm missing the springs to go from here to here. I cannot find them, so I assume that I do not have them. But they shouldn't be too bad to get springs for anyway. They just need to have enough pressure to close it up. So obviously we can't do brakes today. Instead, we'll look at just putting these bearings and stuff on there. After having another look at these, they've got a bit of rust on them. You know, they're not looking the sharpest, especially this one is not looking sharp. We're going to try and get some new ones, some new bearings. So that's also going in the shopping pile. We can't actually do anything else to the bottom hub at the moment. We can't get the brake on, we can't get the bearings on. So we'll just keep it as it is, and we'll do some shopping. When you guys tune in, it'll already have it. Well, we've been shopping, and we've got a few bits here. Ignore the deep voice today, we were having a few drinky drinks last night. I went to the shops for a number of things. Didn't quite get new spark plug leads because they didn't really do them. We did get new ends. The guy reckoned these ends would be stretched and not that good, but the new ends, if we stick these on, should be quite good. Maybe that's a goer then. And we've also got a couple of new bearings here. We've got those two bearings to go on the front hub. We don't have springs yet for the brakes though. The spring shop was closed, so we'll probably look at that in a couple days time. And then that means that we can complete this whole assembly. We're going to be putting the bearings on and fitting these new bits onto the old leads. These are very standard bearings, and the guy in the bearing shop said they are probably the most common ones around, which is good. So the larger bearing goes down first, then we've got the spacer and then the small bearing. These bearings are already sealed fit, so the oil's already in them. They're sealed, so there's nothing we need to oil in there. So that should just pop on there. That felt way too easy. Then we've got the spacer. I wonder if that needs any encouragement. So with those like that, if we pretend that we've got the brakes in there, we've then got this hub that goes on it. This tab washer, which has a location in there. Obviously we're not far down enough. So we'll see about that, because this has a locator here. So we'll locate it in there. Screw this on, bend the tabs up to lock it. I'm not really convinced on that one. I think we've had enough playing around today. We can't really get into anything else. That's a small job, so anything more will be a big job. But I might call it at that because it's getting dark, I'm getting hungry, I'm getting thirsty.